Why is it a weird question? Do you not think about the animals that you're eating?
Well, think and think.
I mean, would you think about if they were dogs?
If they were dogs, I actually want to try dogs. I think veganism, it's not the answer.
Not the answer to what?
A lot of people give the argument that it's a good solution for the environment.
Yeah, actually, maybe I should clarify first. Like, what do you think of when you see the word vegan? What does that mean to you?
You know, I actually think a lot about these kinds of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Often when I see vegans, especially on social media, it's often in discussions, something like that. So
veganism, just to clarify, it's not environmentalism. So of course there are benefits to the environment of going vegan for sure,
yes,
in general. But veganism, even without those benefits, veganism would still stand, right? So veganism is it's more of an ethical principle where we shouldn't exploit and oppress other animals. What do you think about that as a statement? Like if I said we shouldn't exploit and oppress other animals?
yes, the problem with that is that veganism also exploits. You know, the farms, especially the farms, they use pesticides, and then we have the problem that a lot of insects are killed.
Yeah.
Also, when, for example, plowing the farms, you have small animals in the ground. They're often killed.
So I can show you the answer to that. So even if you didn't care about the pigs and cows that are put into slaughterhouses and you only cared about those wild animals, the solution would still be veganism. I can show you why, okay? So this is a study by Oxford University. They looked at nearly 40,000 farms in 119 countries, and it was published in Science, which is a peer-reviewed scientific journal. And they estimated that if the world went vegan, we could reduce the amount of farmland by 75%. And a big part of that is, of course, we have the pasture area here, which is the green area, but also the cropland. So right now, nearly half of the cropland that we're growing is growing crops to feed the animals you're eating. So in a vegan system, we'd actually need less cropland, not more. So if your concern was about those small animals that die in the harvesting of crops, the solution would be this, not this, because there would be less harvesting and therefore less of those wild animals that would be dying. In addition to that, all of this area is also causing deforestation, so that's taking away wild animal habitats. So whether we're looking at the captive bred animals and what happens to them in slaughterhouses, or even if we look at the free wild animals, veganism is a better solution on both of those fronts. And if the argument is, it's better but it's not perfect, you could use the same argument against human rights, right? Because any human rights solution, you could say, but it's not perfect, you can't eliminate 100%, right? If I said to you, homophobia or racism is wrong, you could argue, but you're never going to be able to eliminate completely. But that's not an argument for us to make progress, right?
You have a point, but that's not the only problem. Like if you, for example, look at the vitamins and minerals, you have a lot more of those in meat. You have better proteins, more vitamins there. Also, there are a lot of vitamins you have a really hard time to get from a vegan diet.
That's also not necessarily true. So what we have to look at when it comes to nutrition is the nutrition bodies. So whether it's in the UK where I'm from or in America, those nutrition bodies have said that vegan diets are healthy for all stages of life. A lot of the idea that you can't get nutrients from a plant-based diet is propagated by the animal agriculture industry because they don't want people to stop buying their products. Like dairy, for example, humans have no requirement for consuming the breast milk of another mammal into adulthood. It's just batshit crazy, right?
It's not a requirement, but
so
it's very helpful. It has a lot of great minerals.
Well, it's not great for you could say, if you're driving your car, it's not a requirement to drive around the dog. You could just go straight through the dog and run them over, right? But it's better to not drive over the dog. So we don't need to do these things, right, to other animals. And even the proteins that you're after, or all those nutrients, in fact, they're all coming from the plants. So even the protein, right, if you look at the pigs and chickens, you have to look at what they're feeding those pigs and chickens on the farms. And it's truckloads of high-protein plants. So we have this idea that, the protein comes from the animals, but in fact, it's coming from the feed that is given to those animals.
Yes, but all protein is not the same. That's the problem. The protein in the plants, My English way. It's processed inside the cow's bodies, for example. It's processed into the muscles, and that's where we have our best protein. We don't have.
That's not true. So we can. So there's. Do you know what an amino acid is?
Yes. I know.
Yeah. So there are several essential amino acids for humans, and all of those amino acids, which are basically the building blocks of protein, we can get on a plant-based diet. So basically, if you think of it like a jigsaw puzzle, so there's lots of pieces that make up that protein. When you digest the meat, right, all of those pieces of the jigsaw puzzle come apart anyway, so then they're reassembled in your body. It's not like they stay in that same form and then they suddenly attach themselves to your arm. No. So whether you're consuming the plant proteins, which contain exactly those amino acids, because that's how they're formed inside the animals, right, or you're consuming the animals, you can still get all those essential amino acids.
Yes, but I'm not saying that veganism is bad, it's just not as good as a lot of us say it is.
I mean, this guy has never eaten meat in his life, so he is raised vegetarian. So
yes.
a lot of the ideas that you can't get the appropriate nutrition or you can't get enough protein, it's hard. I don't think it's even hard, right? Have you tried?
No, I have not exactly tried.
Maybe you should try, and then you'll find out. Because a lot of the ideas that it's hard is also propagated by the industry that don't want you to stop buying their products. In the Olympics, for example, there's several plant-based athletes that are winning medals in the Paris Olympics. Novak Djokovic, the number one tennis player in the world, is vegan. So we have plenty of examples of not just average people, but like high-performing athletes that are vegan. So the idea that you can't get nutrition or that it's even difficult is ridiculous.
Well, when we talk about these high-performance athletes, they have it a lot easier than the average persons. They have their dietitians and they have someone who knows exactly what he or she needs to eat. So I would say for the average person, it's on a vegan diet, it's harder. It's not impossible, but
based on no experience. Because I mean, I've been vegan for 6 years and I'm telling you it's not difficult.
Yes. Well, I don't have experience, but it's quite easy. Or
do you think it's harder? Do you think it's harder for you to go vegan, or do you think it's harder for the animals when you're not vegan?
What do you mean?
Do you think it's harder for you to go vegan, or do you think it's harder for those animals when you're not vegan?
Harder for the animal. I think that's just a weird question.
Why is it a weird question? Do you not think about the animals that you're eating?
Well, think and think.
I mean, would you think about if they were dogs?
If they were dogs, I actually want to try dogs.
Okay, so what about if they were humans?
If they were humans, now, of course, we can't eat other humans. That's cannibalism.
I mean, it's physically you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. But are you morally against doing that to humans?
Yes, of course. There is a lie.
Okay, so what is the morally relevant difference? Which means that it's wrong to put humans into slaughterhouses, but it's okay to do that to dogs or pigs.
Well, you have a point, but also...
I mean, that was a question, not a point.
Yeah, sorry. Well, okay and okay. At least they do something with it instead of just killing.
What if somebody had that attitude about humans? Like, is it like if you compare two people who kill humans, is the person who eats the human after they've killed them, is that more ethical than the other serial killer who just kills them only? I mean, at least they did something with them, right? Like Jeffrey Dahmer.
At least they did something.
Do you seriously believe that? It's more ethical to eat the humans?
No, but I really believe that. That's just it's a stupid argument almost.
I mean, it's a question I'm asking you because it's a consistency check, right? Because when we ask like, oh, is that more ethical to eat the body afterwards? It seems stupid, right? And I agree, it is stupid because I don't think it's true.
Well, yeah, I see what you mean, but I think comparing animals to humans is a bit absurd.
I mean, it's like saying comparing oranges to fruit is absurd, right? So humans are animals. We're within the animal kingdom. Do you agree?
Yeah, we're within the animal kingdom.
So I think it's valid to talk about.
If you say that we're within the animal kingdom, then what's the difference between a bear eating a deer and us eating a pig?
So it goes back to moral agency. So let's say the bear eats the deer. I don't know. Does that happen?
Yeah.
Or the lion kills a zebra, right?
Yeah, lion kills it.
So if a lion kills a zebra, firstly, the lion needs to do those things, right? Whereas we're not exploiting the cows for dairy because we need to. We're choosing to do those things. Or we're not putting the pigs in gas chambers because we need to. Often we're choosing to do those things, right? So it's a choice for us. That's one thing. But even if we imagine that the lion had eaten all they needed to that day and they killed like an extra baby zebra just because they felt they want some play or stimulation, we wouldn't say that the lion is morally wrong, right? Because we don't expect lions to have moral agency. So I think that's the difference. Like, of course we are animals, but what separates us from other animals isn't our capacity to suffer. So none of us would want to be in a slaughterhouse. Not you, me, the pig, the horse. None of us would want to be in that situation in the gas chamber. What separates us from other animals is we have a capacity to make a moral judgment. And that means that you are accountable for your violent choices in a way that we don't expect of the lion. So if you were to kick a dog, people would hold you morally accountable, right? Whereas if the bear is attacking the dog, we would try to protect the dog, but we wouldn't say that the bear is morally wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But then, if we have a moral, there's still a problem of moral in the veganism. As I said before, there's still, the pesticides and other stuff.
I already explained to you, if you care about those insects, you should be vegan.
But still, it might be more moral to be vegan, but then it's still not completely moral, since you're still killing insects.
So you could make the same analogy with human rights, right? So if you say, I believe in human rights, and we could take even the best human rights lawyer in the world, like maybe she's doing amazing stuff all over the world, but if you like traced her house and you found like the supplier's supplier, there is some human rights injustices happening. Even you're trying to do this, abide by human rights, you couldn't do it perfectly. Therefore, we should allow genocide. Therefore, we should allow, that's stupid, right? So that's what's called an appeal to futility fallacy. So you're trying to say, even people doing their best to avoid, because it's not perfect, we should just throw our hands in the air and give up. I personally don't believe in that. Are you against racism?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so even if you're against racism, there is probably you will never see a world where we can eliminate racism completely, right? Does that mean it's a waste of time to be against racism? Okay, so I believe the same about animal rights.